Visual Venture built 1.78 million subscribers by uploading just 154 videos. And after spending hours analyzing their thumbnail, I finally noticed something. Their thumbnail are not getting clicks because of fancy design tricks or any color psychology. They are getting clicks because they can trigger a specific reaction in viewers' mind. And once you understand that reaction, you will start looking at thumbnail very differently. And most importantly, you will know how to use these principles in your own thumbnail to get more clicks. So I will give you a quick breakdown of this whole video. So first of all, we will break down his thumbnail psychology, and then we will break down his design principles that they use inside their thumbnail. And at last, I will also show you my version of thumbnail that I created using these design principles and psychology. The first thing I noticed in their thumbnail is most creators try to show a topic in their thumbnail, but Visual Venture show a story in their thumbnail or beginning of the story. For example, in many of their recent videos, thumbnails feels like a story taken from their video. The moment you see that, your brain automatically starts asking like what happened before and what happens next. That's your thumbnail feels like a part of the story, not just an information. And how you can use that before making thumbnails. Do not ask what is the information I am giving in the video, and try to ask questions like what is the best part of my video that I can represent that in thumbnail as a story, and that can create curiosity. And once you have chosen the story, the next question becomes which moment should you show? Visual Venture often shows the moment before something going to happen. For example, a rabbit going to be eliminated, a hand reaching for something, a decision about to be made. The action is unfinished, and our brain naturally wants closure. And psychologists call this Zeigarnik effect. And how can you use this? Try showing anticipation instead of the outcome. The moment before something happens is often more interesting than the outcome. Another thing I noticed is that many of their thumbnails feels immersive. The perspective often feels natural, like you are standing inside the scene, not just looking at it. And because of that, your brain starts imagining the situation. Psychologists call this cognitive simulation. Instead of watching the story, you mentally enter into the story. And how you can use this in your thumbnail? Ask yourself a question before making a thumbnail. Like, does this thumbnail make people observe the story or experience the story? And whenever possible, try to make people feel closer to the story. But getting people inside the story is not enough, because you need curiosity to get people click. And Visual Venture do this by hiding the biggest truth and hiding the information or the climax of their video. Like a thumbnail shows a person, but they don't tell you that the person is trustworthy or not. And as your brain notices that, your brain immediately starts trying to find the answer, and the answer is in the video. And how you can use that? Do not give the answer of your biggest question in the thumbnail. Try to put that question in the thumbnail and let the video answer that. Most creators make thumbnail that feels like advertisement, but Visual Venture shows thumbnail that feels like evidence of their video, and that's a huge difference. You will often see things like a screenshot, documents, CCTV footage, or other clues in their thumbnail, and that makes viewer feel that they are investigating, not being sold. And how you can use that? Try to show the documents or evidence that you will show in the video in the thumbnail instead of adding random stuff. Now we understand why people click, but let's see how design help that psychology to work, because good designs are not separated from psychology. They help psychology to work even better. Most thumbnails try to communicate multiple ideas, but Visual Venture try to focus on one main idea, and all the elements in the thumbnail are just supporting elements. They do not distract the main idea. And here's the PS lesson for you. Before adding anything in your thumbnail, always ask, does this strengthen the main question? If no, you know what to do. Most of their thumbnails feels like a detective board. You see a person, then a clue, then another clue. and your brain automatically starts connecting these questions, and a story starts forming in your brain. And how you can use this: don't place elements randomly, arrange them in a way that helps you discover the story. Most people think hierarchy means making one thing bigger than the other, but visual venture use hierarchy to create discovery. You see a person, then you see a clue, then you see another clue, then a hidden detail, and the longer you watch their thumbnail, you start finding more interesting their thumbnail. And how you can use this: decide whether a viewer should look first, then second, then third, and arrange them in a sequel or a hierarchy that helps you move from one point to another easily. One of the smartest things they do is they borrow visual formats that people already trust, like CCTV footage, documents, evidence footage, news screenshots. These formats instantly make the story feel more real. And how you can use this: if your video is about real events, then think about visual formats that already feel authentic and try to add that in your thumbnail, because authenticity often creates curiosity. Now it's time to show my design. So without wasting any second, let's move into the Photoshop. So this is my whole design, and I will show you one by one, explaining all the things why I use that and why it creates curiosity. So first of all, I used black background, and then I add a detective board like background that feels like an investigation that is going inside the video. And then I added a phone image, and inside the phone image, so I will explain first the overall concept of the story. So our video's title is a 25-year-old case solved by a selfie. So for that reason I used a smartphone, and then I added a selfie and clipping mask that selfie in the phone. And after doing that, I done this because it do not looks good like a documentary thumbnail. So I use a gray background, and then I copied these things. And after copying that, I used these ellipse tools. I use this ellipse to make zoom out of his glass. And why I did that, let's explain this. So after doing it, I clipping mask image in which a person is shown with a knife. If you look closely, no, not in this, but here is the person. You see that, and for that reason, I zoomed out this glass to show that. And after doing this, I added a text. Sorry, this is the tiny text that is with these things. And at last I added the text case solved, and this creates a whole story, because first of all I showed a selfie, and inside the glass a person's reflection is shown with a knife that is going to kill her. And I wrote text case solved, which creates an incomplete story, and I did some adjustments of text and background to pop out this thing. And at last I applied camera raw filter. So this is before camera raw filter, and this is after camera raw filter. So this is the thumbnail that I created, and thanks for watching the video. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button. And if you want to learn more about thumbnails, then you can visit this channel and learn more things about thumbnail. And thanks for watching the video once again.